Hey, it's Ish, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk more about real estate investing and the licensing or the requirements or prerequisites it takes to actually be a real estate investor. I think that a lot of the misconceptions out there is that there are a lot of barriers or obstacles that prevent people from investing in real estate. And while there are barriers and there are certain challenges that come with investing in real estate, there are some that are out there that are not actually true. So, one thing that's really important to know is that you are not required to have a real estate license to be a real estate investor. You do not have to have all of this formal knowledge about real estate investing. You are not required to have the same amount of knowledge as a real estate agent or a licensed real estate realtor to invest in real estate. It's not the same thing. It does help, of course, but it's not required. And depending on what type of real estate deals or real estate investment options that you're taking, it's absolutely not required to have a real estate license. So, what is a real estate license required for? Well, essentially, you are required to have a real estate license if you are advising or helping someone else buy or sell a property and you are collecting a commission for that. So if you are providing a service to help someone buy or sell a property and you're also collecting a commission, you are required to have a real estate license because at that point you are acting as a salesperson. So you need to have a real estate license. So an example would be if you're helping your mom or your cousin buy or sell their house and your mom or your cousin says, if I buy this house or if I sell this house, I'm going to give you a cut of whatever amount, doesn't matter what the percentage is, then you should have a real estate license. That is required for you to have a real estate license. Now, if you're helping your mom or your cousin sell a property and you guys are kind of going it alone and you're not getting any cut of that, and you're not getting any commission and you're just helping, then it's not required for you to have a real estate license. It's questionable, but it's not required by law for you to have a real estate license in that instance. So what is required to invest in real estate? Well, you do want to have some knowledge. I mean, investing in real estate, it's a process. I mean, you are not going to know, it's like anything else. You're not going to know everything starting out. There's going to be a lot that you learn. There's still a lot of things that I'm learning. And I think the first thing that you have to answer and ask yourself is, what type of real estate investing am I doing? Because there's so many different types of investment opportunities in real estate. There is wholesale real estate. So you're talking about wholesale deals. It's very, very complicated in a lot of instances. And that's an instance where I would actually advise that you hire a real estate agent if you're not a real estate agent yourself, because those types of investments can be very complicated. Wholly buying a property through a mortgage or a cash flow, for example, like you would do with any other normal purchase of a property, also I would advise to have an agent. I would never advise someone to purchase a property by themselves or sell a property by themselves. You totally can do that, but I totally would not advise that. I would really recommend that you get an agent if you are purchasing a property wholly or if you are selling a property wholly and using it for cash flow later on. So those are the two instances: wholesale real estate and then outright purchasing a property, whether through a mortgage or through cash. Definitely recommend an agent in those instances because it's just such a process and it's so complicated, and I wouldn't ever do anything like that myself without the support of a real estate agent, even as an agent. So there are plenty of agents that also have other agents that help them purchase or buy or sell properties. Now, there are some examples where using a real estate agent isn't exactly necessary in your investment process. For example, if you've already acquired a property and you've passed the real estate agent stage, you've acquired the property, you've closed on the property, and you want to manage that property, you don't need a real estate agent to help you manage a property. There are plenty of property managers or property management companies who are not licensed agents who can provide just as great service for property management. You can also manage the property yourself. It's not as difficult if you just have one or two properties and you have the time to do it. So that's an instance where you're not required to have a license to manage a property. Um, so those are some examples where you're not required to have a real estate license. Another example is if you are doing fractional real estate investing, you're not required to have a real estate license to do fractional real estate investing. And we'll talk more about fractional real estate investing in another video, but it's essentially when you are kind of doing group investing, you're committing to a specific amount that you want to invest in for a property or a group of properties, and you are getting return on your investment from those properties. So you are putting in a certain amount of stake into your ownership of that property based off of a specific number with a group of other people. So fractional real estate investing is a great option. It's really good if you're starting out with real estate investment and you want something that's low maintenance and something that will help you kind of learn how things work without being too taxing and still get a good return. Fix and flips. You do not need to have a real estate agent to help you with a flip. Now, obviously, you want to have a very knowledgeable contractor. A lot of times contractors or agents can be very helpful when it comes to getting appraisers or getting inspections done and finding the right inspection company or appraisal company. They can be very helpful in obviously helping you renovate the property. So it's really about having a really solid contractor. But once you own that property, you don't need an agent involved in that process, and you don't need a license to flip a house. Again, it is not required for you to have a real estate agent in any instance where someone is not collecting a commission for the purchase or the sale of the property. It is strongly recommended that you use a real estate agent for wholly purchasing a property through a mortgage or through cash, or doing a wholesale deal, unless you're super knowledgeable. Now, there are plenty of real estate investors who have been investing for a long time, and they have been doing wholesale deals for a long time, and they're very good at it and they're very knowledgeable, and they've just learned and they've done it through repetition. At that stage, you probably won't need a real estate agent, but it is good to have a real estate agent just to kind of back you up, double check things. But I do know plenty of people who have been doing wholesale real estate for 10 plus years, 5+ years, and they do not use real estate agents, and they're very successful and they're doing great. So after a while, once you learn the ropes, you don't even really need an agent at that stage for those instances as well. There's a lot of rhetoric out there where people just think that there are all these barriers, or that there's things that they can't do because they don't have this knowledge or that knowledge. And the truth is, when it comes to real estate investing, you don't necessarily need to have the same knowledge that an agent would have for buying or selling a property. Now, when it comes to, again, the purchase and sale of a property, you absolutely want to have an agent on hand advising you. There's one really important factor to consider. Depending on how many properties you own in your portfolio, and depending on what types of real estate investing you're doing, an LLC could be required. So in many instances, a business license, an LLC, is absolutely required because you are running a business at this point. In most states, I believe it's 5 properties or more where you have to have an LLC to run this real estate investing business. If you have more than 5 properties, then at that point you absolutely need to obtain an LLC, because you are now collecting cash flow or getting some type of income off of these properties, and it's more than 5 properties. But again, you still do not need to have a real estate license to run this type of real estate investment business. Also, depending on the type of real estate, if you have commercial real estate, or if you're doing some type of wholesale real estate, an LLC absolutely be required or work in your advantage for various reasons regarding taxes or other legal reasons. So be sure that you have things in place, and we can talk more in another video about what business license requirements are required for different types of real estate investment businesses or business moves, so that you can be aware of when you need to get an LLC and how that needs to be set up. It's not complicated, but that's something to really keep in mind, is like, even though a real estate license is not required, you may be required to have an LLC set up. So, I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to some of the requirements and obstacles and some of the myth busters out there about what's required to really start investing in real estate, really you can start at any point. You can start with no real estate license to do your first real estate investment, depending on what that investment is and how you're going about it. So there are ways to start getting into things and learning about real estate investment and earning from real estate investment without having so many things in place. Now, obviously, as you grow, as you do more, certain things will come up where you'll be required to have a business license and an LLC, and you'll be required to have certain tax preparations in place. But this is a great way to start, and hopefully this information is helpful to you and kind of removes the barriers that might be there.